What's up guys, welcome to another Left Stick Right Stick video on Dreams. Today we're going to be covering what happened at PAX West 2018 last week. So what happened at the event? Well, they had a booth, they had a game jam panel, there's quite a few things going on. In the game jam panel they sort of created a sci-fi, quite advanced sci-fi level, which we'll talk about a bit later. But in the booth they sort of had a setup where they allowed attendees to sort of play part of the game, so like the debug part of the story, and they also allowed them to play, all of MM's team creations, which, we've seen before in previous events. You can check out a video of all the sort of levels that we've seen today in another video, which will be linked right at the top. They also had some sort of collaborations with sort of Penny Arcade to make a pin imp, which you could purchase at the event. It seems like it might only be available at PAX West. Doesn't sound like it'll be available outside of that. There were also decal stickers, for those who really want to decorate like computers. But at their own booth, they mostly just showed off creation mode, sort of various sort of things. Apparently John B was challenged to make things in 10 minutes, whatever people were shouting at him, he had to make it in 10 minutes. Animals, weird creatures, and just random bits and bobs. That's all they really show off at the booth. At the game jam, there are a few questions and they answer some of those, which we'll talk about a bit later. But first off, let's talk more about the Sci-Fi game jam stream. So, as usual, they're just sort of showing off them being able to live test while they create, sort of go quickly jump into play mode to test what you're making. At the event, they tried to sort of put an emphasis on a vast level, something that's more epic and bigger. But to do that, they sort of had to use a lot of pre-made assets. And apparently John B was up by late at night making some of these assets as well. So like a mech adventure. And they also got an audience participant to sort of do the voiceovers for this level, which is really nice. They also showed off about tweaking to actual pre-made stuff as well. As usual, it shows off how easy it is to scale up your level quite quickly. But one of the really annoying things was that they sort of kept avoiding properly addressing how big we can actually make the level. There was no thermometer being shown, and they sort of tried to talk about it, but then they quickly just went on to a different topic without actually answering the question. And when it got revisited at the end questions and answer section, they just said they can't show off how much the thermometer it uses because it wasn't made available for the build that they used at the show. Again, so the thermo issue is still in question. We don't know how much is going on there. There wasn't much new stuff, but there was still quite a bit of information we could have gathered from the whole game jam. I mean, what I really noticed that was quite nice was sort of the extra buttons available, to the extra UI elements, which gave off a very Persona 5 like menu system. To when you're holding certain elements, you've got those menu options spread out exactly almost like in Persona 5, more rounded rather than angular, which we hadn't seen before in all the previous streams. When you're picking up an object, they didn't really have that menu there. It was only just the big item menu rather than actually your actual button pressing menu, which is actually pretty cool. It looks very nice. They also showed off sort of a very clear first person shooter view, showed a HUD view as well, and that sort of shows how amazing VR could be in the Dreams as well. And overall, they only had an hour for this whole game jam stream, and they sort of made their thing within about 40 minutes, which is quite impressive. I mean, yes, there's a lot of planning ahead of time and sort of making all the pre-made assets, but it does show that you can just use other people's creations to quickly build up and scale up a level quite quickly. Obviously, you can do more fine-tuning, tweaking. Clearly, there were some things they left out, sort of like when we're piloting the mech, it was quite clear that the pilot never actually went into the mech. He was just still standing there, which is kind of odd for me. Just a little things that weren't quite polished, but what do you expect for like a 40-minute quick game jam? But nevertheless, some of the mechs are really cool looking as well, which is really nice. Then there was the question and answer section of the game jam panel. So quite a few of the questions sort of show that there's still lots of people who don't really know much about Dreams. It's sort of still a new concept and it's not very well known, but a lot of it covered stuff that we already knew before. Sort of questions were stuff that were already answered in previous panels, previous events, and just basically following them on Twitter, you would know the answers to. But sort of the more important questions, I guess, that were raised, like I said, the thermometer thing, which was sort of not answered. They also talked more about the policing aspect of Dreams, and it does seem it's a very strong reliance on Sony's own mod team rather than any in-house operations to deal with it. So any policing of Dreams won't really be done by MM themselves. It seems like it's all be Sony's external outsourced department where they all do it with human moderation. But they did mention, if you still want to make inappropriate stuff, you can still make it, just don't publish it, and you won't have any problems. They also said that they're looking to bring back Picks, which was a thing in Little Big Planet where they're highlighting levels or creations which they thought were amazing. But they're sort of still in development and sort of figuring out how they actually want to arrange that, how they want to actually highlight them. It's still quite a fluid sort of concept. They haven't decided exactly how they're going to do Picks and in what format they do it in. They sort of had a re-emphasis on all the questions and answers that they get. Sort of, can you do this? Can you do that? that they should re-emphasize that while it's usually a yes that you can do this and that, whatever the question is, it's still up to the creators to actually figure out how to do it. So a lot of these yes answers don't actually necessarily mean that yes, there's something pre-built in to help you do it exactly as you say. With ease, it's sort of something that you have to figure out using what is there to actually do. So as a reminder, it's not just because they said yes, it means it's simple to do and it's already pre-built in into the menu. It might require some sort of tinkering to actually bring it about. Overall, I don't feel like we learned that much new from the event. It's sort of re-emphasizing a lot of similar stuff that we've had before. There's just a few more progress sort of updates as well. We had it confirmed that alpha was already being conducted and it's been given out to people to play, probably within Sony's department rather than just in-house teams, but at least that's going ahead. They also re-emphasized that beta will be this year, trying their best to bring it out as soon as possible. Personally, I feel like it's going to be at the next big event, or as some people have mentioned online as well, it might be coincide with Little Big Planet's anniversary. We'll see, fingers crossed for that soon, and just have to follow MM for more news on that. So I might be more inclined to go with the prediction of 27th of October to be the beta launch date. Well, we'll see if that happens. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click that like button if you did. Become a subscriber. We're going to try and bring you more Dreams content as soon as there's more news or more things to cover. But in the meantime, check out all the other Little Big Planet content as well. And I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next time.